So it has been an insane summer of recruiting for the Alabama Crimson Tide as they have absolutely shot up recruiting boards. And if you're someone that keeps up with Alabama football and or recruiting, this comes as absolutely no surprise to you. Because several times over the last few cycles, Alabama has had a bit of a slow start to their recruiting class, and then comes the summer and they just shoot up the boards, which is exactly what we saw this summer. But it doesn't look to be ending, because tonight they get yet another talented addition in this 23 class. Four-star offensive tackle, top 200 player in all of high school football, Miles McVay. We need to talk about what this means for the Crimson Tide, why it's such a big win, and everything in between. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill, I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited about Alabama adding in yet another talented offensive lineman? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed the content, like and comment down below, because those interactions, though seemingly small, are really impactful for content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's jump right into it, because this is a massive addition for the Crimson Tide, and I do mean that literally. Because Miles McVay stands 6'6", 358 pounds per 24/7 Sports, and he comes in as the number 186 overall prospect in the nation and the number 19 offensive tackle per the 24/7 Sports composite. So anytime you're able to go out there and get a 4-star top 300 player, you're very, very excited, because that guy is extremely talented. But especially when you're able to keep a guy away from a Texas A&M, a Michigan State, and so many other institutions that recruit at such a high level. Now, don't make any mistake. It's never a surprise when Alabama lands a talented offensive lineman, because of the history Alabama has at offensive line development and sending those guys to the NFL. Alabama develops at an elite level, but it seems like every single draft, you can bet your bottom dollar there's an Alabama offensive lineman making his way to the league, and so many look to be the next to join that group. So this is a great win for the Crimson Tide, and Coach Freddie Roach and Coach Eric Walford get another win in their book. This is something that I can't wait to see how the offensive line for Alabama continues to evolve this year. If you've watched my content, you'll know I'm very high on what Coach Walford can bring to the table from an offensive line coaching perspective. I think that's going to be a massive help for Alabama's offensive line, but I also think getting guys that you're very confident in, such as a Miles McVay, is going to be huge. But what does Miles McVay bring to the table? And he is a massive human being, and when he gets his hands on you, good luck. You're not getting away. This is someone who, with a year in the system, with a year with working with Coach Walford, and a year in a college strength and conditioning program, I truly believe he is going to be a player to keep your eye out on. And look, let's not make any mistake. I'm consistent. Offensive lineman is a position where I'm never surprised if guys come in and take a year to develop. I say this all the time, so if you've heard me say it several times, I apologize. You're going to hear me say it one more time. It's always difficult transitioning from high school football to college football, but especially at that offensive line. Because in high school football, there is no baseline athleticism. And on top of there being no baseline athleticism at the high school game, you're talking about a monumental difference in size, speed, technique, and understanding required to be successful at the offensive lineman position. As a true freshman, you could be going up against someone that's been in a college strength and conditioning room for 4 years and has 4 years of college teaching behind them. That's a tough ask for anybody, no matter how talented you are. Now, make no mistake, I'm not saying that precludes any offensive lineman from starting as a freshman. We've seen time and time again freshmen come in and contribute. But I am saying I'm never surprised when at the offensive line particularly, they take about a year to develop, to get into that college weight room, to get into that strength and conditioning program, and to get that year to understand the system. But I really believe after Miles McVay is in Alabama's strength and conditioning room, this is a guy we have to keep our eye out on. But what does this mean for Alabama's class as a whole? And this puts Alabama as the #1 recruiting class in the nation, with only 19 prospects in the class and the highest average recruit rank in the nation. I've consistently said for a year now, this Alabama class is one to watch. This Alabama class is one that could be really, really special. And when you look at the prospects still on the board, we're just going to talk about a few. You can understand why Alabama fans are so excited, because they currently sit at the #1 class in the nation with 19 commits, but there's still so much that they're going after. We're talking 5-star defensive lineman James Smith. We're talking 5-star edge Russo. We're talking 5-star edge current current Notre Dame commit Keon Keeley, who they're trying very hard to flip. We'll see how that goes, but it's always an alluring offer to hear from the Crimson Tide, especially when you see what their edge positions are doing right now. But then you're also talking Kelby Collins, who Florida looks to be in a very good position in that battle, but we'll see if Alabama can make up the ground by the time he makes that commitment. It's always tough to say no to Freddie Roach and the Crimson Tide, especially defensively, especially if you're in the state, but Florida's done a very good job. Then there's Edric Hill, another defensive lineman who Alabama would love to add into this class. There are so many talented prospects still on the board for the Crimson Tide, and we didn't even talk about a Kermani McLean, who's a top 5 player in the nation, the #1 cornerback in the nation, who could add into Alabama's stellar defensive back class, and that looks like a very realistic possibility. I bring this all to your attention because Alabama's class still has a lot of room left in it, with a lot of time left in it, with so many top-tier prospects on the board. Nick Saban and them are on a warpath right now in terms of recruiting, and I can't wait to see how it ends up, because y'all know I love recruiting, but this is looking like it could be a special class. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you're thinking about this. That's it. See ya.